If you're between 20 and 35 years old, there's something almost no one tells you about money. The decisions you make with it right now will echo through the next entire decade of your life. That's right, an entire decade. And understanding this as early as possible changes your whole life. I, for example, learned that way too late. And now I'm running against the clock. If I could go back to when I was 25 with the mindset I have today, I would have avoided frustrations, mistakes, delays, and I would have built much more financial freedom. Guys, I am Chad from Zero Markets. And for those of you who landed here by chance, our channel's mission is to bring you clear, direct, accessible information about investing, trading, and financial markets, fully democratizing this universe that's expanding more every day. So stay with me until the end of this video because these 6 lessons were expensive. I paid the price. And thanks to Zero Markets, you don't have to. What's curious is that no one teaches us how to deal with money. Have you noticed that? There are rare exceptions. We learn how to solve quadratic equations, but we don't learn how to pick a good financing rate. We learn to memorize formulas, how to pass tests, but not how to deal with our own financial behavior, which is what actually determines wealth. And time flies. One day you're at your first job, and the next, life is demanding mature decisions from you. And when you finally realize that you could have done differently, that decade is already gone. That's why this video isn't about generic shallow tips. It's about awareness. It's about anticipating lessons that usually only arrive together with pain. Number 1, start early. If you didn't, start now. At 25, I thought I could only invest after understanding absolutely everything about the financial market. That was my mindset. I did what most people do. I binged videos, I read books, I followed experts, and kept postponing my first real decision. But knowledge without practice is like studying swimming from a book. You understand the movements, but you still can't float. When I finally put my own money on the table, even a small amount, I discovered something very powerful. When your money is at stake, you learn for real. You pay attention to price moves. You begin to understand risk, volatility, trends, and most importantly, you understand how you react. Because investing isn't just about the market, it's about you. A small contribution, even $50 a month, is enough to build discipline, to test your emotional tolerance, and develop long-term vision. There's no shortcut for this kind of learning. And here's the truth I learned way too late. The cost of inertia is far greater than the cost of a small mistake. Don't dismiss what you don't yet understand. When Bitcoin appeared, gosh, I still remember this. I laughed. I literally laughed out loud. When NFTs exploded, I laughed harder. And funny enough, I was still one of the first among my friends to get into crypto. Maybe you've done something similar. You ignored a trend because it felt too strange. Guys, the problem isn't skepticism. It's using skepticism as an excuse not to study. Today, I set aside a small curiosity budget. It's money reserved to explore new ideas, technologies, new models, with no obligation to be right. And this changes everything. Once you put even a tiny amount of money, of your money, into something, you actually start investigating. You learn fundamentals, you learn technology, you learn cycles, you learn narratives. Sometimes you won't get a financial return. Okay, it doesn't happen every time, but you will get an intellectual return. And that always puts you ahead of the market. Disciplined curiosity is a competitive advantage. Stop picking stocks with your heart. An amazing brand is not the same as a profitable business. A beautiful stock is not the same as a good company. My classic mistake was buying Michael Kors stock just because I liked the brand. Yeah, it was dumb. I completely ignored the sector's dynamics. Fashion is cyclical. Margins are tight. Competition is brutal. And trends change faster than spreadsheets can track. The result? The stock plummeted and so did my pride. Today, I only invest directly in businesses I deeply understand, business models, risks, competitive advantages, future outlook. When I don't have conviction, I use ETFs. And they're simple, smart, and strategic. And that's what we always want you to keep in mind when you follow our content. Investing is not about declaring love for a brand. It's about understanding business for real. Stop waiting your whole life for the perfect moment to buy a home. I waited way too long. I waited for the perfect property. I waited for the interest rates to fall. I waited for the market to cool down. And meanwhile, rent was eating a huge chunk of my money. And when I finally bought my first property, I realized it would never be perfect, but it would be my greatest teacher. Buying something tangible early teaches you about financing, maintenance, time horizons, building equity, financial discipline. Of course, renting sometimes makes sense, but many young people buy out of fear of making a mistake, and that fear is expensive. Perfection is the enemy of building wealth. Debt isn't the enemy. Lack of strategy is. I grew up in a culture that demonized debt. And yes, it is true that reckless debt destroys lives. But smart debt, the famous leverage, opens doors. Simple example, you have $200,000. You can buy one property in cash, or you can use part of it as down payments for two properties, as long as rental cash flow covers a good portion of the installments. This way, you build equity in two units using part of other people's money. Is it risky? Yes, it's risky, but calculated risk is what moves the investment world. Being extremely conservative can keep you stuck for years. Being careless breaks you. The sweet spot is right in the middle. Money is a tool, and debt, when used intelligently, is leverage, not a trap. Before I share the sixth reflection, think with me. Did this content help you see money more clearly? Then it can help others too. Subscribe to the Zero Markets channel so videos like this can reach more people around the world. Here we help you think better. We help you invest consciously and build a smarter financial future. Generosity is one of the smartest ways to handle money. At 25, money always feels short. Parties, clothes, trips, and because of that, you feel like life will start over when there's leftover money. But the truth is, money almost never leaves leftovers. Expenses rise along with the income, the famous lifestyle inflation. What changes your relationship with money isn't accumulating, it's directing. Being generous with yourself. Courses, travel, experiences increase your value as a person. Being generous with others, time, help, resources gives purpose. Even with an average income, you're already in the global top tier. And that completely changes how you see wealth. If I could summarize everything I said here into one sentence, it would be, money isn't about perfection, it's about intention. Start before you feel fully ready. Let curiosity drive you. Study with discipline. Use leverage with strategy. We have videos on the channel explaining this in detail. Plan, but don't paralyze yourself. And turn money into evolution, not anxiety. In the end, my friends, real wealth is what you build and the person you become along the way.